Thank you for having me on, Justin. Um, there's too many stories to share. I mean, it's nonstop for 8 years, and still every day, practically new stories. I got started with this actually 9.5 years ago. I was a very slow start. I was very skeptical. And a doctor friend brought this to me, and I was very network marketing averse. And I'd had bad experiences in the 80s and 90s, and with hype and misrepresentation and outright lying to people. And I just wasn't into that. So I said, I'm never going to do this again. And for 15 years, being an alternative integrative healthcare practitioner, people would bring me the latest, greatest juices and antioxidants and so forth. And I would say, absolutely not, never going to do that again. And so when Dr. Edmonds brought me this, and I said, is this network marketing? She said, yes. I said, no, absolutely not. And I was serious. But she was smart. She knew that I was a runner. Been a runner for 45 years until 9 months ago when I injured my hip, but that's another story. At any rate, I live at 7,000 feet. I think that's what, about 2,300 meters? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's in the mountains above Albuquerque. And I've been running these trails for, at the time that I was introduced to this, 16 years. So during that year and a half of research, I'm looking at all the, Dr. Edmonds has given me the research pieces that the company has done that show people going, 12% further before they run out of it. They hit the ventilatory threshold, they hit the wall. Mice going 29% further before they are exhausted. All these huge metabolic shifts that happen within 15 minutes of drinking it. And this was all the things that I was doing when I was running up the mountain. I would go up 1,000 feet to 8,000 feet and back. And I finally, I went to PubMed, the US government website for all the peer-reviewed medical research, just to learn what redox signaling was, because it was so new then, most people had never heard of it, still haven't. But I started drinking it. A year and a half in, I started drinking it. And within a month, I'm powering up the mountain harder and faster. And within 3 months, a month before I turned 60, I set new personal best times for these trails that at that time I'd been running for 16 years by 20%. So that got my attention. About 4 months in, I started sleeping like I hadn't slept in 20 years prior to that, and still do. One thing after another stopped hurting over the next year, which is an important concept. It's very, very individual how this works, in any individual's body. And the time frame is very unique. So we don't know when somebody starts drinking this, what they're going to experience and when, but we do know that it's making changes based on metabolic studies and a bunch of other stuff. So within 3 months, again, a month before I turned 60, I set new personal best times. And I just, I went to Dr. Edmonds. I was upset with her. And I said, I'm going to have to drink this for the rest of my life because I'm feeling good. I'm running like an animal and, sleeping and so forth. And she says, well, if you share this with 6 people, yours will get paid for. And I kind of made a little cross sign at her again. But I, very unprofessionally, I started looking at people who were talking to me about problems, and I would kind of roll my eyes back and go, I've been drinking this stuff called ASEA, very professional. And I would just, I learned this was a storytelling business. I would just say, I'm running like an animal up the mountain. I'm sleeping. I don't hurt as much. And people were leaning in and their eyes would get big, like when you're reading a little kid a story. And I didn't have that experience before in network marketing. Most of the time, people would be backing up either physically or emotionally. And so that was kind of shocking. And out of the first 10 people I spoke to, 2 of them said, I want that. They raised their hand. And the first one I said, you do? You know, because it shocked me. So that was the beginning. I've just seen uncountable numbers of stories. Most days, people come in and tell me something that ASEA is helping. And about every 4 or 5 months, somebody tells me a story that you just don't see in mainstream or integrative or alternative medicine. And so that floats my boat. I keep sharing it with people to this day.